Meta Lawman, Ryan Selkis, and others will speak to us. And you're going to want it all. Additionally, you'll want all of that if the CFTC and the Bank of England collaborate. How about this then? XRP, $17 to $27. Would someone please roll those lovely introspectives with Brad Kane? Please enter. Everyone is invited to the show once more. For exclusive stuff, follow us on Twitter and YouTube. Cryptocurrency has a market valuation of $1.33 trillion at the moment. Happy morning. In the previous day, the market increased by 1.9%. Ethereum is now worth over 2,100, and Bitcoin has recovered to over 30,300. And for Ethereum Tether, that is a 7-day increase of 10.6. The market capitalization of Tether is at $81.41 billion. 52 cents for XRP, actively monitoring. We are currently ahead by 1.6 over the previous 24 hours, if that constitutes progress. Visit my sponsor if you haven't already. Capital is reliable here. Using your IRA, you can invest in digital gold and silver. That's accurate. The only thing better than purchasing cryptocurrency at my home is doing so tax-free. And I can do just that with it and their IRAs. Also keep in mind that while you as a retail investor can hear, you cannot locate institutional custody. The beauty of this is that they abide with the law entirely. The problems you experience with other exchanges and everyday business are not present here. This is a very compliant cryptocurrency IRA. Roll it with your 401k, 403b, and 457. And what about that? It is tax-free. Bitcoin, baby. That's what I like about it, yes. Click the link to the video below. We'll start now. Ladies and gentlemen, the dread emanating from Gary Gensler's SEC is still going strong. Gary Gensler's post from 22 hours ago is currently there. Today, we accuse former CEO William Shara, one of the co-founders of the cryptocurrency asset trading platform Bitrex, of running an unlicensed broker and clearing agency for a national securities exchange. The cryptocurrency market, according to Gary Gensler, suffers from a lack of regulatory compliance, not a lack of regulatory clarity, as he tweets about today's activities. The sheer gall of this guy to come out and call this despicable, I tell you, is beyond description. When someone like Hester Peirce is actively raising the alarm about the lack of clarity in this, as he argues, it is a sign that something has to be done. And we are all familiar with the drill. They still sue you if you visit them for clarification. Simply incredible. Today's meeting, however, will see Gary Gensler called to the floor. We'll see how that turns out, but pay attention to this. Okay. The Financial Services Committee will question SEC Chairman Gary Gensler about the papers they're searching for relating to the allegations brought against former FTX CEO Sam Bankman later this morning. Free. Patrick McHenry, Chairman of the Financial Services Committee, is here with a preview right now. I bid you good morning. What are you trying to find? What are your objectives for the meeting today? Well, first off, I believe we want to draw attention to Gary Gensler's quick and aggressive regulatory agenda, which includes 53 key rulemakings by this agency that would cost the market and the economy in a highly competitive environment. What do you mean by that in terms of the digital asset ecosystem? And what is the lack of clarity at the same time? That is what I mean. If you have information on his two former SEC chairs, they each completed half as many rulemakings. This chair is attempting to force a significant amount of change. It has a significant financial impact, and he is providing little opportunity for truly insightful commentary. So, at a time when the rest of the world wants to take over our capital markets, we're going to have cheap rules that are very expensive on the market. I don't believe it is a smart agenda, and I believe it is crucial that we expose that. Additionally, he hasn't given any indication of how to manage digital assets. Thus, we are losing market share to them as they relocate abroad. There is fierce rivalry for a sensible regulatory structure in Asia and Europe, but there is none for us. In light of that, those are the topics I want to cover this morning. They truly are crucial to the American economy, in my opinion. But I'll tell you, we'll see, because there has been a dearth of action and all that Congress has provided so far has been a stream of tweets. So I think that ought to scare us just as much as Gary Gensler's conduct. Right. However, let's return to this, since it is crucial that we look at this. According to David Schwartz, the SEC alleges algo purchasers OMG, TKN, NGC, and IHT expect to make money, which is sensible. To me, it sounds like investment advice. It does, in fact. Don't you think that sounds like investment advice? Rather from the SEC. As he shares Mike Duda's, who is pursuing him, John Deaton makes a statement about what's happening. If you didn't already know, Silvio Macaulay's algorithm won the Turing Award at MIT, despite the fact that Mike Duda's, an investor, has a long history in the field. Gary Gensler will talk about how he collaborated with them, and how he celebrated it while he was at MIT. Pay attention to this. It cannot be manufactured. Government is difficult. Today, you could build Uber or Lyft on a blockchain technology. You might be able to in 5 years, though. There would be a performance. I work with Sylvia Macaulay's algorithm, a Turing Award winner at MIT. Sylvia has excellent technology with performance. Uber might be built on top of it. I mean, that's abhorrent. It is they who are currently being sued in exchanges under the pretense that they are securities. It's disgusting. John Deaton claims that he is imagining the hypothetical class of investors who bought an unregistered securities after being convinced to do so by Gary Gensler, a former CFTC chairman who also happens to be an MIT professor. I'm Gary Gensler. Then, however, reality strikes, since I must claim that it is a security in order to win my case. He claims that there is no lack of clarity, nevertheless. In my opinion, this man is an abhorrent human being. Regarding the Bitrex case, Meta Lawman claims that he has just finished reading the 56-page lawsuit. One aspect of the Bitrex exchange case, he remarked, puzzles me. Why isn't the SEC also suing Gary Gensler's friend, Silvio Macauly, who he was just bragging about celebrating in the video at MIT, offering and selling algo tokens in the first place, if Bitrex and its founders are being prosecuted because they permitted trade of supposed security algo? There are a few individuals at Ripple that I can think of who could be interested in understanding that reasoning. It is real. Here, Jeremy Hogan presents it in full. And this letter from Bitrex expresses their disappointment with what has happened with the SEC. They continue by saying that reading this letter will show you that we requested them, and he has reacted on it here. He repeatedly stated that we Bitrex had asked the SEC to reveal which digital assets it regarded as securities. They objected to doing it. We're still expected to think that the SEC's decision to allow Bitrex to offer unregistered securities for years was motivated by investor protection. This is where I always lean in and say, this is regulatory capture, in my opinion, and it's working to suppress the current market and infrastructure that exists so that the legacy firms can come in and buy up this space pennies on the dollar. As this statement puts it all in one place. If the SEC had had that belief years ago, they ought to have taken action then. At this time, the letter should have a no-action recommendation. In lieu of the SEC declaring that it was bringing charges against Bitrex for securities violations, Jeremy Hogan continues. The SEC is hoping for a quick rollover from Bitrex. Here is a simple argument to support the claim that the 6 tokens are securities. The game is that. The alternative strategy is for Algorand Foundation and the other 5 initiatives to jointly intervene in the legal dispute under Rule 24. He continues by saying that if projects don't want to fight for themselves, Bitrex should file a request to dismiss for failing to include necessary party Rule 19 and force the SEC to introduce them. In the exchanges and projects, it's either teamwork or death. He continues by essentially saying, don't they first have to prove to tokens involved in securities? Yes, Jeremy Hogan answers. How, then, can Bitrex convincingly claim that algo or some other token is not a security? Not at all. The game is that. It's like accusing me of being a nasty guy while suing me. May I contest that? I want you to join me in that battle, please. You see, there is the issue. And that's the sort of shady, dishonest stuff going on at the SEC. That doesn't directly address investor protection, but it does address another issue. Therefore, it seems to me that the SEC's regulatory capture warrants scrutiny. Additionally, Ryan Selkis, Gary Gensler, and even the former chairman weigh in on this. You are speaking shamelessly to Gary Gensler, a blatant disgrace to the nation who revels in undermining the objectives of his own agency and prioritizes his own avaricious personal ambitions over the interests of investors' safety and moving the nation 1 year closer to the end of your political career. That merits a celebration. But a 2-year delay shouldn't be necessary. Today, Congress can take action. The disappointing thing is that the conflict intensifies because of this. Keep in mind that he is also after DFI and us, unless Congress passes different legislation. Due to oversight, the SEC will continue to expand its scope while keeping the majority of the cryptocurrency industry under its purview. And DFI is included in this. This is what's taking place. Decentralization of power governments are informing us. The concept, or rather the story, is that there won't be anything like that in their eyes. This is precisely what occurs in this instance. Exactly what happens in this situation. I've been stating something that Raoul Powell says. The UK will benefit as the US suffers. In the financial markets, this has always been the case. And here is Brian Armstrong standing there the day before with the City Minister and UK Economic Secretary. In order to promote consumer safety and economic prosperity, the UK is moving quickly to implement sound crypto regulations. To continue making investments in the UK. That's it. If you continue, everyone will seek out a new area to relocate to. Isn't that your outcome? Let's look at this now because it becomes intriguing. A joint statement on the supervision of these CCPs was released by the Bank of England and the CFTC in the United States. We're talking about cross-border central counterparties payments, ladies and gentlemen. I find this to be really intriguing. Okay, let me quickly walk you through this when you look at it. With regard to the monitoring and oversight of cross-border central counterparties, the bank and the CFTC have a long-standing partnership of cooperation and mutual understanding. That is a CCP. Recognize the significance of regulation and oversight, and accord it due respect where necessary. This deferential strategy eliminates regulatory or the possibility of regulatory redundancy while keeping the advantages of cross-border clearing and activity, and is in accordance with the G20 pledges made in St. Petersburg in 2013. Therefore, I should state settlement instead of payments. Right. As a result, the bank and CFTC are dedicated to continuing their strong and productive cooperation and information sharing relationship. From the 2020 MAU Memorandum of Understanding, this section mainly discusses the mutual understanding shared practices in establishing connections with specific cross-border central counterparties in the US and the UK for the settlement of derivatives and other things. Right. So let's look at this. The type of cooperation demonstrated in these procedures involves regular interactions between staff and CFTC Bank to discuss opinions on pertinent supervisory issues while taking into account opinions, pertinent specific issues, and concerns as they occur. In accordance with the MAU that they have had for 3 years already, the practices also include timely sharing of information, including data on the clearing services offered to market participants, notifications of material events, including those related to financial resilience, business continuity of the CCPs. Service to clearing members or trading venues set up in the UK and the US is what we're referring about. This is what is going on while Gary Gensler terrorizes the cryptocurrency industry, and it has nothing to do with protecting investors. What is the purpose of the method he is using? Maybe, but his strategy of regulation through enforcement has nothing to do with safeguarding investments. Let's look at this right here now. Despite what we can see, according to Crypto Bull 2020, the charts are telling a different story. By the end of September 2023, XRP will likely reach a peak between $17 and $27, according to him. That would place us at a distance of roughly 4.5, or 5 months. You can see what it is if we keep repeating the previous pattern here. I can only hope that he is accurate. We're crossing our fingers and toes, but we have no idea what will happen. Additionally, this is not financial advice, and neither am I a financial advisor. Not for him, not for me, nor for anybody. It is merely my digital viewpoints. On the next one, I'll see everyone.